Welcome to Rarefied Air. In this podcast series, we explore topics related to customer service and innovation. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about customer centricity, and I'm certainly inspired with somebody who's really special, Alex MacLeod. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, John.
How are you today?
Pretty good. Excited to get this underway.
Well, this is going to be a fun podcast. I think we should start at the beginning, though. So you and I met a long time ago, and we've been
Don't
working.
age me. I'm not.
I've been here forever. So you and I met a while ago, and we worked together, and you've been in many different roles.
Yep.
But let's go back to where you first started. How did you encounter InterSystems?
So I actually grew up in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school in Darmstadt, which is close to Frankfurt. We have an office there, which I didn't know at the time. So I was working towards a master's in information systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for a side gig, basically, gotta make some money to pay for clothes and food and all that stuff. So I had a gig in Frankfurt and I didn't want to keep shuttling. So I talked to my parents one day and said, I really need to find an intern job closer to school. And my dad, who was in IT, said, why don't you try InterSystems? And I said, who is InterSystems? So he kind of gave me a little bit of the background, made an introduction, and I applied.
That's excellent. What did you do? What was your first role?
So most people don't know this. I actually entered in marketing. It was like a technical marketing job where I helped take screenshots of the product and stuff like that for the book they were writing.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a great mentor over there, and I just worked a couple hours a week, basically. Mm-hmm. And then school really encouraged people to do an overseas internship. Mm-hmm. So I asked InterSystems if over the summer I could maybe go to headquarters. And InterSystems said, you can't do an internship in marketing. We don't really do interns in marketing. Mm-hmm. You can start in support, though, and go there for 8 to 12 weeks.
One of my areas, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Little did I know I would end up with you, but... Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. But so in terms of helping developers, system administrators, IT people in general, what did you learn about the way the support organization works and how we work together with customers?
So even though you weren't my direct boss, I do have to say I learned a lot from you because you were very present for all the support people. And from the beginning, it was very clear you said, I used to be a customer and I want our customers treated the way I wanted to be treated.
Yeah, that's true. But when I was a customer, the CEO of the company, the founder, answered the phone. That was kind of a high bar to meet.
Yes.
And, we always try to find new ways to make sure we do meet that.
Yeah, but you always set that bar. You always said, that's what I want to be.
You always reached it, Alex.
I tried. I'm very competitive for people who don't know me. So you kept setting stretch goals, which is what I like to do with my team too. But it was always we want to be the best,
Yeah. Let me share with the listeners, you give them a little bit more insight into what I see in you, Alex, because you've always been a rising star with a lot of potential. You have a high degree of initiative. You have a passion for what you do, especially helping customers.
That I do.
You're very smart, intelligent, and in front of a customer, they have immediate trust in you. And your colleagues respect you. Those are all important traits when we hire people. Yeah. And you certainly embody that. So I'm going to turn next to customer centricity. And I think customer centricity is really about attitude. Do you really, in your heart, care about customers? And commitment. Do you put your money where your mouth is from an organizational standpoint, from a priority standpoint? So those are kind of my remarks about customer centricity. I'm sure I could talk about it all day, but how do you think about customer centricity?
Yeah, so I have to say, I don't think about it a lot, right? And I'm very lucky, A, with the company where we have the option to focus on customers this much, but B, with healthcare. I think you really have to find something that's not a paycheck that you get up for, right? But something that you have fun doing, that you want to do, that you can kind of associate with. So I didn't go to school and think I'm going to end up in healthcare IT. I had no idea, right? So I kind of fell into it because InterSystems does healthcare. But that's where I consider myself really lucky because it's so easy it's so personal, I have small kids that I need to take care of that get sick a lot. Your parents are aging, I have a dad with MS. All of us are patients. We're all kind of caregivers. Even if you're not a clinician, you have a background in healthcare and it's something that touches you daily. And I just don't think it's that hard. You talk to customers about that environment and about what's the right thing to do. So I have the coolest and the easiest job in the world, I like to say, because honestly, all I do is have conversations with people. You know, that's all it is. You listen to what their problems are and you listen to what they're trying to do and you try to make the best decision for that situation.
So is that empathy, altruism? Is it something else?
I think it's empathy. I think it's trying to see from the customer's viewpoint, you know, like what is their situation, their context, what are they trying to do? And everyone has kind of pure motivations, I like to think. So you just got to see it from their angle, you know, and I think that's easy to do in healthcare.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned family. Is there a parallel between customer centricity in work and in life?
I think so. Like
Yeah.
so I present a lot on the product and, you know, where we see it going and innovation. And I always think about what I expect from healthcare as a patient or as a mother. So, you know, I just mentioned my kids get sick all the time. I don't have time to go to the pediatrician constantly, right? Every week.
Sure.
So I take pictures with my phone. I message online through an app. I travel a lot for work. So I think you and I were at a conference in Dubai together.
Yeah.
And my son was sick. This was during like still, if he had a cough, everyone thought he had COVID, right? So my husband took him to the doctors. I, on my phone, had the notification of the lab result first before my husband knew what the result was. And he was in the pediatrician's office. That's the kind of experience I want, right? And that's what I think about customers too when they're using our technology or when we're talking to them.
Yeah. So it's about getting people what they need quickly, but also doing it in a way where, you know, it's sincere and it's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who is your customer, right? Like, even our customers, who is their customer?
That's the one that really counts, right?
Yeah,
As a software company, we sell to people who build applications. It's, you know, they're great to work with, but it's their end users, you know, serving patients, for example, or in other markets as well. We have several principles when we work with a customer. It starts with making it easy to get to the most expert person on the first, on the first request.
Yeah.
All right. It kind of starts there.
With support, you mean? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't being clear.
Yes.
But yeah, with support, I think we're very customer centric as an example.
Yeah.
Right. And there are other departments in the company that are the same way, and there are customers that are very much the same way. But talk a little bit about our support.
And you ingrained those too. Like, I didn't feel like I had to memorize those principles. They were just kind of natural.
I didn't do it on my own. There were a few of us, but
but they were, you know, like you said, get to a real person, don't have a machine answer the phone or something. Get to an engineer, have the customer set the priority. That one is always amazing to me. Like, if you think this isn't important, that's not your call. You know, like the customer says this is a crisis. That's what it is. And that's how we're treating it, you know?
Yeah. In a way, it's counterintuitive compared to how some companies say they're customer centric, but aren't.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of what we do.
Yeah.
You know, there's always more that we can improve. Well, I'm proud of the people that do it, and I'm proud of the people I work with. I'm certainly proud of you, Alex. So you've had several roles in the company.
Yes.
Let's talk about customer centricity on your journey through the company, because you weren't just in support. I love working together with you, but I knew you were going to help the company in many different ways. So take us on that journey.
So oddly enough, after a couple of years in support, I switched to sales, which was something I thought I would never do. The sales when you're growing up kind of seems, I don't know, not genuine, I guess. But we had the sales engineering role here with the technical background. So that's what I went to. And I do have to give you kudos because you were so supportive of me leaving you. I've never experienced that anywhere else in a good way, right? So I'm like, wow.
Alex, this is a customer centricity, not John centricity.
But you were like, yeah, go and prosper and do whatever is best for the company and for the customers.
That's right.
Right. So I went to sales engineering and I stayed there a long time, which is where I started kind of the management track as well. But that was all about getting in early with a prospect before they become a customer, figuring out what they were trying to do and applying our products to it. So I really enjoyed that.
It's where the rubber meets the road, actually. It's where our products meet a problem that a customer has.
Yeah.
And sales engineers are crucial to make that alignment really work.
Yeah.
And to understand, what the problems the customer's experiencing are, and how to use our products to resolve those.
Yeah.
What did you do next?
So after sales engineering, I actually, again, nobody knows this, I did a brief stint in product. Like I did a little bit of development, but then really switched to an international role. Because the product area I was focusing on with healthcare, we said we wanted to launch internationally. So they asked me if I would be willing to help with my background, help the international team. So I actually gave up management responsibility to go and do that job for a couple of years, and then went into product directly, where I'm now leading innovation.
And how does that apply to customers?
I mean, everything we do applies to customers. But so in the international role was very similar to what I did in sales engineering. It just went a little bit broader into also the operational aspects, like implementation, oversee the whole life cycle. And now in product with innovation, it's all about, well, where are they going next, right? Like, where is the puck going?
Yeah, you're solving future problems.
Yes, or I like to try to, you know. So that's a lot of fun, a lot of AI recently. But yeah, it's all about how can we make it even better and foresee what will be most helpful to the customers.
Okay, so you can't have a podcast without talking about AI for a minute.
Yeah, I guess so.
So let's spend just a couple minutes on AI. How do you see AI and the way customers use it in our products and future products? What's the benefit? You know, if we're customer centric, how does AI help customers?
So first of all, it's the most advanced technological breakthrough since I've been in this career, right? So it's very exciting to me. I get super excited. And we're primed for it because all we deal with is data. So you have like this Disneyland of data that you need to make AI useful. And all of our customers are dealing with data in some way, shape, or form. The technology, I actually think, is pretty easy, that part. I see us more as consultants in that area because it's scary. It's new. It's, you know, especially in healthcare, it's like personal health information that you're giving to some algorithm that you don't know what it does. So we help a lot in how do you apply it? What does it do? How does it work? And we're having kind of that educational role to help them feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, things I see is it can save time. It could be an assistant in a way.
Correct. It's like a co-pilot in general.
It's like a co-pilot, sure.
Yeah.
And it can give you insights.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an exciting time. You know, you mentioned Disneyland. I know you have a Disney story because I've heard you talk about Disney as a, in a way, a metaphor in a presentation. And that relates to customer centricity. Yes. Can you tell the Disney story?
Yeah, I have many, many Disney stories. Disney, for me, really, first of all, if you've never talked to their support department, it's amazing. It's what your support department reminds me of. They're all happy on the phone. They all really listen. They solve your problem. Like, it's the best customer experience I've had. And that's only because I haven't been an InterSystems customer.
I've heard it's magical.
Yeah, it is magical, right? But also, if you go to Disney, and I don't know, when was the last time you've been at Disney?
Oh, probably 6-7 years ago.
Okay, so not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the experience is amazing. You have your like wristbands, you have your app. You don't ever need to talk to anyone. They know where you are in the park. They know what the wait times are. They know how old your kids are and what your preferences are. I mean, short of them predicting when my kids are going to have a sugar crash and I'm showing the nearest snacks that I can order on the app and they get delivered, right? It's just, they do everything they can to make your experience pleasant. And it's all digital. And I am willing to share any of my information with them. I want them to know where I am, who I am, what my kids like, and everything that I can give them for them to give me the most magical day ever.
Yeah, it's all about the guest experience.
Correct.
That's definitely a good example of customer centricity.
Correct. Now, let me tell you a different story from healthcare.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I deal with healthcare data all the time, obviously. And they have these exchanges in different states and different regions that kind of collect your healthcare data, aggregate it, and make it shareable. So in Massachusetts, years ago, I was asked to share my data. And I said no. And I'm an educated professional in this area. And I said no. That probably means that most people who are not in this profession say no, which also means we can't make healthcare better because we're not sharing data, right? So how do we motivate people to behave the same way they behave at Disney, you know, where they're pimping out their data as much as they can to see the benefits if we do that same
Yeah, in healthcare, the patient is the real customer.
Yes.
That's a really good point. When I was a customer, the person who answered the phone was the founder of the company. You couldn't get better support than that. You know, just to explain a little bit more for the listener, I called this big IT computer company. It would take me 4 hours to get through to somebody who was an engineer to be able to help me. Once I got the engineer, things were okay. And by the way, I worked in a lab. So if if the computer wasn't functioning in the lab, the whole lab stops, right? It's like a factory.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure to get things back up and running. And here I am, I call InterSystems. I don't know who Terry is. Terry's a founder. And he picked up the phone. He helped me. We figured it out. He'd stay on the phone with me until we rebooted, which in those days could take 20 minutes.
So did you find out afterwards?
I found out afterward who he was. When it came for the interview at InterSystems, they said, I'm interviewing with Terry. I said, oh, I know Terry.
And you still got hired, so you must have been polite.
Still get hired. But that experience was a night and day different experience. And we still operate like that today. Yeah. And it fits in our principles.
It does, yeah.
Immediate access, get the best people on the front lines. Customer sets the priority. Take your time. Don't rush to get things closed out and get on to something else. And that's very customer centric. So in our company, customer centricity is really a philosophy.
Special, yeah.
It's special, yeah. So Alex, we've spent a lot of time talking about healthcare, and I know we're passionate about healthcare, but we're in lots of markets. We have been for quite a while.
Yes.
Financial services, big banks, trading institutions, supply chain, and so forth. Tell us a little bit about customer centricity and how it relates to something other than healthcare.
And I did have the fortune, I guess, when I was in support with you, that I wasn't specialized in healthcare at first, right? I covered a lot of these. And it's always the same principle. There's a customer, you need to understand what they're trying to do, how they're, what are their goals and what they're trying to achieve, and then you apply the technology to it. I have no idea about financial services, but again, you just need to be able to have a conversation and listen. So
So if a point of sale system is down in, say, a massive furniture store,
exactly,
it's a crisis.
Yeah, and just think about you're there shopping, you want things to be up.
Yeah, and we have a customer in Japan. Just a very brief story. They supply cosmetics, toilet paper, toothpaste, incidentals basically to all the little stores all around Japan. And they're able to deliver 99.999% of the time, on time, in full delivery, even during COVID. And they're using machine learning. And, when they call us and need help, we're there to help them out for sure.
Yeah. And you mentioned COVID. I'm sure the behaviors or the patterns slightly change and technology changes with it. Everything is digital now and virtual. And
absolutely. You have to adapt.
Exactly.
So Alex, when I think of customer centricity, I can think of you and other people in the company we work with too, but you certainly have it. How do you drive that with your team? What type of people do you look for? And how do you ensure that your team has that same philosophy about customer centricity? And how do you lead them?
Yeah. So for people I look for, I actually learned that from you early on, but it stuck with me. I look for sharp, passionate, and hungry. They always have to be hungry to learn and do more, and, they have a slight competitive edge. But I don't really care so much what they've done technology-wise, because they can pick it up. It's, that's fine. But they have to have that drive to want to do something good. Right? Yeah. And then we've talked about stretch goals, and you were certainly always good at setting those, right? Like, we need to be as good as Terry answering the phone, but I do that still, right? I set these stretch goals. They look at me like I've lost all my marbles, and then they go and they do it. Yes, feels impossible, but we're going to prove it's not, right? So they have that attitude. And then a lot of people probably would disagree with me on this, but for me, leadership is still rolling up your sleeves and being a good role model, right? Man, if I had more time, I would code all day. Yeah. I don't have that time anymore, but when it comes to a customer being in crisis, like we had a customer last year that had a cyber attack, and the whole team just rallied and worked crazy, insane hours, and I was in there coding. You don't have to ask them, I wouldn't expect them to go above and beyond, but they just do. Because that's what they see, that's what they want, and that's what makes them happy, So it just naturally kind of evolves that way.
Lead by example, lead from the front line, right?
Exactly.
So the last point I want to talk about is technology, because, we talk about customer centricity throughout this entire episode. How does technology that's constantly changing and evolving, and, we touched on AI for a bit, but technology in general, how does that help us do a better job for customers?
And there's kind of two sides to it, right? How do we incorporate it internally to help our processes and our operational life be better and more efficient? And you've certainly done a great job in support using, for example, AI to help some of those operational processes. But then for technology for the customer, I think it goes back to don't just use technology for technology's sake, right? Like, don't do AI just because everybody does it or everybody wants to do it. Look at how can I make it better? what's the customer problem, and is there a piece of technology that applies to it? And again, typically the technology is the easy part, but the education around it, the governance, like all of that stuff is usually a lot more involved.
So you're saying don't look at shiny objects, start with
Correct.
the impact and work back from the impact.
Exactly. And it might be that AI is the tool that works for this, or it might not be, right? It might be something that has existed for 20 years already that we just hadn't thought of spinning that way. But yeah.
So Alex, for young leaders, or leaders in general for that matter, that are thinking about how do they make their organization more customer-centric, what advice do you have for listeners thinking about customer centricity?
This is going to sound really lame, but like, just be a human being. Like, really just
Stay human.
just stay human and keep in mind you're dealing with humans. Like, on both sides of the conversation, there's a human being there. Even if you don't know anything about their life, you can listen and ask questions. And that's not come from a place of curiosity, I think, is what that is. It's not uneducated. You're there to help them and they'll appreciate it. And if you just keep that in mind, it just happens.
Yeah, personally, I love helping people and solving problems.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of work for me.
Exactly. I don't think we'll run out of work anytime soon.
So Alex, my personal philosophy is life is short, make an impact while you can.
Yeah.
And I think you share that same philosophy.
Yeah, I like to be very loud. It might be annoying to some people, but like, take up space, do the right thing.
Get it done.
We're only here once,
Get it done.
Get it done.
Alex MacLeod, this has been an inspirational conversation to have with you, and I hope it was inspirational for the listeners. I'm sure it was. I really appreciate you taking time to be here and do this.
Thanks for having me.
And every time I talk to you, I learn something. So Alex MacLeod, thank you very much.
you.
Well, to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Rarefied Air. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And please send us feedback. We're always looking for new topics and things to cover related to service and innovation, and we're always looking for ways to improve. So until the next episode, thank you.